I can't breathe in this thing!
These things are the bane of my goddamn existence. I don't even know how it got that hot. I have some idea. It might be this abyssalite tile heating up the airlock, but this should count as a vacuum. There's no reason... Oh, yeah. And if I want to get in here, what happened was this pipe backed up. I just sat there and barfed oil over the place to do that. And that thing broke. So I think I'm going to build my first petroleum boiler. I'll just do that now. Let's just get it over with. Let's just make it happen. Someone get down here. Let's see it happen. Alright. My first ever accidental petroleum boiler. Hi, I'd like some petroleum, please. That should at least kind of cool this off. If it cools off. If I had to guess, it's because I left it on... The weird part is, I actually looked up a tutorial on this thing. I looked up, here's the thing I did. So I did it. When you're going down, the only thing I can think of is somewhere between that thing I looked up and now, is that I left this sitting on this window tile, thinking it would transfer heat energy to there, to more effect it, like, so it would bleed heat away, that whenever these things closed up, it would do that. You know, either something did or something didn't, I don't know. So now I gotta wait for this junk to cool off so I can go in there and take it apart. However, let's just go all the way back up here. Just to prove, when it rains it pours, and when it pours, it goddamn pours. So these both broke. I think what happened is I had a little bit of air trapped in there, and everything flashed to steam. It couldn't go anywhere. However, look at it's gone. Well, we've got 36 kilos of oxygen there. That's not bad. 40 kilos of oxygen there. And when I hit the record button, just before, I checked it, there were 1,200 kilograms of steam sitting right here. And I guess it finally cooled off. I don't know. And then the one other one I've got here, all the way down here, right here, is plugging away happily. It's been 130 some degrees since I built it. So my options are I have to build 2 of these setups up there to keep the main cooling thing going. Is that the deal? This one works. I don't know why the other one didn't. So that all piled up while I was doing this. Way up. There we are. I still want to ranch slicksters because I think they're cute as a button. This is... If I come over here... oh wow, that hurts the eyes. So all my... I'm sending the CO2 from these ethanol distilleries and out of here all over to here to store it for when I manage to get myself some slicksters. Well, whenever I manage to get an egg. See, these poor gooey little buggers over here. Where the hell are you? These poor... Haven't had anyone there in forever because it's 70 degrees and whoever goes inside gets scalded, heat stroke, and dies. And I don't have any eggs for them. Slick. Yep. Just egg. Does that work? Eggs. Yep, so I have to wait for one of them to make an egg. Which I don't know. I don't think he's gonna. He might. So they're all getting pretty long in the tooth. I might not. I might get one out of him. I was going to find a way to cool this off. My plan was to dump a bunch of water on it. However, that water all got fired off over to here to cool things off. So I thought, well, there was still a block here. If I delete that block, build a vent, put a door here, break that, this dupe should come out and immediately run away. They opened the door, and they stood there like an idiot in a horror movie. As steam started to flood out, they got out, and someone ran in to pick up a piece of something on the ground. And the whole 200-degree steam all over in here. This all got melted. That got broke. That got broke. I have naphtha now. She got a bunch of naphtha. What do you do with naphtha? That used to be a tube. Now it's naphtha. I'm just going to leave that there as a monument to failure. I'm not sure how I'm going to... I have some idea how I'm going to deal with this. Because you might have caught a glimpse there. A while ago, the brine tank started getting really, really high. So I figured, well, I'm going to drain it off, and as I drain it off, I'll just sort it out to figure out what I'm going to do with it. It dawned on me, first off, all of these were full of about 19 to 20 degree brine. So I used them for secondary cooling here while this ran. This was already up around 40, so I'm going to have to cool everything back down again. So this cooled all that off, sort of normalized it, and now it's, because these have bypasses, this is still running, so it's going to cool for a while. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's going to cool for a while. And then I just started pulling out of the tank itself at this level to keep it regular, which I think it's kind of... Yeah, it's kind of hit there. So that was dumping into these. I figured I'd drain some of these out. Now these were just trying to keep the thing from overflowing. And I know it holds 5 tons, right? And it's metric tons, by the way. So each one of these squares, right, this square of brine is actually a little over a ton. These hold 5 tons. It'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, and a bit. So we're spending 5 tiles of space to hold. We're spending 6 tiles of space to hold 4-inch tiles of liquid. But it's in a way that you can access it. However, all of these are just an absolute dog's breakfast of salt water, brine, water, polluted water. I was sorting them out until the first one got full, and then these got full. So I still have a big pile of, like, varying degree salt water, which I can use. So I figured I'd put some of it to work up there. And I thought, wait a minute, I've had to pump this thing down like twice. And it's just the same pile of garbage. So over here, waffle goes up. Dog's breakfast full of crap comes out. And spots, this whole area was 70 some degrees. This is still pretty bad over here yet. Because this is bad. I gotta block something in here somehow, or run some waffle over there. But at least it's workable now. I've kind of reclaimed it. This is still a little hot. This is still pretty bad. I'll probably just disconnect that end, run that, and then just let it run until it hits ambient temperature. it's cooling. It's the only cooling I'm going to have right now, because the only cold thing on my map is the good old the good old slush geyser, which is nice, but doesn't produce in the amounts that I would like it to in order for cooling. That's why I resorted to these stupid things, and now I have to build it over again. Lucky me. Well, coming up on cycle 1800, we pulled right on the tailspin. Pulled it out again. Crisis averted. We managed to... So this whole area up here was essentially unlivable. This whole mess. What I did was this kind of holding... This is where all the crap that falls from down up top ends up. It all winds up down here. And this gets full every now and then, and I pump it out and store it and do stuff with it. What I did, pulled it all the way up here, put in a cooling loop. This is all ambient. I managed to rip this all out. This iron is still effectively trapped until I think of a way to deal with the heat. Managed to cool it off enough that people could get in and do some ranching, so we didn't have to flood these poor little guys out. They did slowly die off of attrition because we weren't raising them. We did, however, set them up a whole new place to live. I wasn't quite sure how many eggs we had. They were all they were stuck in that one storage box in the no-go zone. So I decided to raise up what I could. This place is shockingly overpressured, however. And I'm not sure why. I haven't really put any carbon dioxide in here yet. But even just getting in here, it's pretty bad. Oh, decided to build that last. This is... I should probably start killing off this carbon dioxide. Well, yeah, well, kind of. It floats over here, right? So it just got somewhere to go. I guess what I should do is put some, before I forget, basically give this a bit of an outflow. This is the best I could fit in with the little tongues of abyssalite. The rooms are 96 max tiles, even with this and that, and their own set of CO2 bunkers. It's a little dumb, I understand. But it gets the job done, and it's over here in the corner of the... it's a far corner of the base. And I'll be able to ranch these little goobers for a bit, process it into petroleum, and then we'll... They're basically going to be... They're going to make plastic for me. They're basically just going to make plastic. Then I took some of that water. So this mess here. Brought a bunch of it up, ran it through a cooling loop, filled a liquid reservoir with it until it achieved ambient temperature to what was around it. Fired it up through a new cooling loop so it could circulate, brought new stuff up. Once this stuff was ambient, moved it up, moved that stuff up, new stuff up, and it managed to reclaim. We're slowly reclaiming chunks of the base that were absolute no-go zones before. It's still pretty hot though. Like this is, I had to wall this in. This was giving off 90 degrees. This is still 72. We're still grotesquely hot up here. This little guy. You were tame. How the hell did you get out if you're tame? Well, you're not long for this world, because I'm not going to rescue you. Managed to... This is getting blocked in, so all that heat can stay in there and leave me alone. And trying to clean up this mess. So we took away this guy's temp shift plates, we took away the glass. I'm thinking like maybe I should put him on a NOT gate to shut off just in case. Like when this hits 200, actually maybe about 225. That way he can still provide some heat to stuff, but when it gets a certain point, he should shut off. But now I have to go through the agonizing pain of cleaning up all of this, because when I tried to clean, this was a disaster. Let me tell you what kind of disaster this was. I had to pump all of this crap out because it had both these oil wells that kept running and filled this all up, pumped a bunch of it out, and when I threw a bunch of crude oil in here to emergency cool it off, there was a little bit of water. Everything flashed to steam. These are all made from gold amalgam because I was making steel, but I was being cheap. Yeah, so all of them started taking heat damage. We're just going to make a big lake of oil and pull off of that for a while. But it's gonna take a bit, and the battery's kind of flopping up and down. While this was running, we did manage to accumulate a whole bunch of natural gas and not burn as much petrol or ethanol, so we've got reserves. And this guy here, which has run just fine and barely made it over 135, almost just exactly copy-pasted it up here. If two of these guys want a break, I'm going to give them one each. They're not even running to the pond right now either, actually. Like, I had stuff down here start to break, and I had to get the cooling going, so it's going to be a while before I fill the cool off this ethanol pond again, which is unfortunate because all the water coming through here is, like, look at this, it's 90 degrees, 90 some above. This is also the water that supplies like everything in the base, and it's all 90 above. That is not a thing I want to do. I want to keep this around 20 some degrees. Like, I want 20-degree water flowing through here so that things that are hot, like power transformers and this gas range and these rot piles, they all cool off. Right? So we have some kind of temperature controls. Food. You see that big ass number? I panic farmed a whole bunch of mushroom caps. It's like, wait a minute, I haven't grown these yet, and I've got tons of slime. A whole bunch of this is going to get taken down because that was absolute panic. I'll probably cut this down to this top row. Is it? Thank you, Furnace. We'll cut this down to the top row. We're not feeding dust caps to anybody, just because. How about many other things? I've actually got enough to fill this out to 18 arbor trees. The problem is that if I turn this up, like right now, this liquid valve is set to let through a little bit more than these are using. Which means these tiny little packets of water, right, that's 1.5 liters per packet, coming in at 80 degrees, going out at 31. This cooling stack failed. It couldn't compete. It's still picking up. Oh, that's why, because I'm running it through there. I'll have to turn those into insulated pipes, so I'm not. Yeah, like we're losing 5 degrees there, which again, I don't want. Things need to stay the temperature I want them to stay. So this whole cooling stack's going to come down, which is good. That gives me 20 wheeze wards I can use somewhere else. And other than that, I think we got most of the spot fires dealt with. That'll fill up. It's running right now. Right? I guess it's running right now. It's having a heck of a time filling this up. What did you do? You overpressure it already? Oh, because you got a little bit of steam in there. Okay, well, fudge. I should have waited for that. Okay, you're going to have to shut off. Frick. I was hoping I could catch that before it started flashing to steam. It's not going to cool off. Well, it might. Now that you're shut off, you'll bleed off some heat. Yeah, I should have waited till that was full. Till this is completely filled up with a little bit up here. And it would have been better. This thing, because it's got a bite, hopefully it won't overflow like the last one did. This is going to mess up cooling though. Yeah, it's going to raise the base temperature of my my holding tank. 37 degrees, 24. So it's going to come back a little warmer, and it'll equalize again in a while. Nuts! I should have waited for that. No, I can fix this. I can fix this. I can fix this. I got a bunch of. Yeah. I can fix this. Do a bit of that. Oh, let's not go quite that high. What have I got in there? Not even a ton. That was skim off water. Because I had ethanol everywhere when I opened this guy up. I went and boiled a bunch of ethanol all over the place. So we had to pick it up, and then I wound up with water inside, and nonsense. Let's do this. Let's let you take water. Yeah, you can take ethanol too. Since we've got a mountain of water everywhere, we will build us a quick holding pond up here. Just gross and temporary. We'll get that built. We'll turn one of these into a metal tile. Well, we'll put a block here, turn that into a metal tile, take that apart so we don't we don't let any of this friggin' heat out. Actually, there's not even any heat in there. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I was looking at the completely wrong thing. This is what needs to get cooled off. That's what needs to get cooled off. So used to having to cool off the turbines. Okay, plumbing. A vent. It doesn't matter. Some insulated pipe. A little bit of making sure things get done in order. Yeah, and we'll turn that one into a metal tile after I get rid of these ladders and these stub pipes. Turn that into a metal tile. Fill this up, bleed a bunch of heat off. That should recondense, and we can finish it up. Yeah, that should work. Just a couple of minutes for you, and it's been 2 or 3 days for me. To the point where I had to go back and watch the first part of this just to remind myself what I was doing. We ran all of that dog water up here to reclaim a bunch of this territory. So it's livable, mostly. Ran it up here, sorted it out, ran all the water through some electrolysis. This is mostly temporary. Stored all the oxygen we could. And now, all of this here, this used to be all full of like 80, 90 degree water. It's now down to 54. I brought a bunch of brine over, left like from the pond. all of this stuff coming up from way down here, all this 95-degree water, come up, cool a bunch of it off here, cool it off a bit more here, stored it and ran it through desalinators. So I have a ready supply of water that's not horribly, you can get slightly, 50 some degrees. 50 degrees I can handle. 50 degrees I can work with. Anything that didn't go down the line for production went in here. This is only 74 degrees. It was around here and it was 90 some. So I just kept pouring water in it to empty stuff out, sorry. Cool that down. This doesn't, the only place this goes right now is up to here. To that electrolyzer. Once I get a proper cooling solution dealt with here, which we're on the verge of, I literally grabbed the petroleum that was sitting down here being not used, stuck it in here. So our ethanol coming back at, it was coming back at about 19, going out at 8. Now it's not doing quite so good. Not doing quite so good. We lost about 15 degrees of temperature wise. Just piling it all up into here. But, what that's done is it's letting us move a bunch of cold over here. Now it's still got a long, I highly doubt I'm going to drop the temperature on this that much more. But what it's going to do is we're going to patch into, eventually, this whole row of now not so horribly, viciously hot crap. We'll run it through here to equalize it to about 50 degrees, and that's, I have to figure out where this goes. It's been a while. It's this circuit hasn't run in a bit. That comes down here into here. Yeah, that's still going to be too hot. This was about 70 some flipping degrees for a while. And right now it just, oh, it just terminates down here. No, it was coming up from here. This was all dog water. This was all drained this entire pond, by the way. Heated that all up. So if I plug you into here, you're going to go that way. This is another secondary cooling pond. Not sure how much longer it's going to last. Comes down here, runs through all of these. Yeah. I guess it's been a couple of days. This is eating carbon dioxide. So we get some amount of polluted water out of it, which goes down here to feed the plants, but not the balm lilies because they're temperamental and too hot. Then it's going to come through here and back around. This is going to need a better cooling solution as well. Yeah. Well, I might not. Now that I remember what I'm talking about, we're going to slap one of these pain in the butt gizmos in over here. Ooh, I missed a pipe. Missed a pipe. And that should, because it's a short run, it should drastically knock down whatever temperature that doesn't up there. Like the 50 degree stuff. I'm not so worried about the fifth, like this line splits. Some of it comes over here. Pause this so I can actually get things to move. And it used to run this loop here until it got too hot. This stuff started to break and I had to it's running in a circle. The problem is that was the primary source of polluted water. This stuff down here. So it's all cranky because it needs irrigation. Which means this will have to hook back up. We'll feed fresh water in, get dog water out, and hopefully keep these alive. And if I can produce enough, I have enough trees, I can make another row. I can potentially make 2 more rows. Probably over here where all of these were. At least 2 more rows. Which means I'll have... How many have I got? What have I got? 12 right now. Right? 6, 12. And because I've just been playing so long, got to the 8, it's 20, I think. Less than 10 supports a petroleum generator. Less than 10. That said, we have 12 running. These guys run flat out, and because these don't run constantly, we're very slowly gaining as it is. I'd like to gain faster, because what we're about to do is we're gonna screw up. We're gonna mess things up by throwing on a lot more draw. Like I'm throwing on 2 of these, even if they only run every other, that's still a lot. Over here, where are we here? That's low. That's lagging behind. So when this drops to 10% of battery, it'll kick back in. There's a few things that run constantly. Kind of providing a trickle there. You can see we're pulling twice as much off as we were using. So once that gets low enough, things like will kick in the way my furnace always seems to do inconveniently. Come on, you can do it. Get there. Get down. Anyway, the power produced, the last time I actually checked, it was reading like 30 kilowatts. Producing 30 kilowatts. We weren't using 30 kilowatts because like a quarter of the stuff in the base just shuts off every now and then. There we are, we're ramping up. I thought we were. Come on, you can. There we are. 30.1. A potential of 30.1 kilowatts. So, on top of changing out all the old heavy watt wire, because we're currently producing, like, yeah, we would be straining this. Were some of the things actually not on a grid. But we're going to throw on, where we're consuming, what is he, a spike of almost 15? Almost 15. So, we're going to wind up with a spike of around 16, potentially 17. So I'm going to need that ethanol. And not only am I going to need that ethanol, this water solution really only runs like the top half of the base. Because petroleum, I haven't made any petroleum in a while. I'm living off reserves right now. We're living off of 1, 3, 5, 7 and change tanks of petroleum. This 95-degree saltwater geyser is going to have to come into play just for water production for down here. But that's okay. It's 95 degrees. It's already it's not that much warmer than what's already down here. The issue is that. That's the issue. Now the saltwater geyser is only like 2 high. So if I come in here, if I dig that out, I should be able to put a tile here, dig that out, put a tile here, dig that out, across. But as long as I don't free up the geyser, I should be okay. In theory. And then I'll just slap a desalinator package on it, all made out of steel, because it's going to have to be. And that'll give me all the production water I want for down here. And I might even Might even get over to this guy. In fact, I'll probably have to. This thing's been running like a top ever since I took away all of his, the place for him to dump his heat. He's still running kind of warm. But you can't dump it into here, so you can't dump it into this tile, and that tile, and we're not having any runaways anymore. This is... That's actually a bit cooler than I think it was. Yeah, it's come down. These don't all run at 850, but they're running it. It's still vastly more power positive than it was before. Vastly. I was worried oil was coming from somewhere else. Yeah, but we're in a vastly better position than we were at the start of the episode. This right now, I've got one cold water, one cold brine, 2 hot salt, and 2 steam vents. So the issue is really just the massive amount of cooling I have to do to make this stuff useful. This guy here, he's completely plugged off. He's actually... I'm sucking the... Everything he makes is getting dumped down here. And I'm not pulling much out of here. The only thing coming out of here is this electrolyzer. That's really the only water coming out of here right now, I think. Yep, that's it. This is only 60-some degrees because I pushed a hole. This was all full of cold water, and it still kind of is. Any produced water, any water these guys produce goes in, circles back around, and if it's too much, it just floats out this tile down into here. And up to here was a whole bunch of runoff water from everywhere else in the base, so I just let it flow. I'd tap into it, but I've had a couple times where I brought this whole level down to like here. Like I was below there. There was air. There was air here. I was like, okay, I need to stop pulling off of this. That's way too much. That salt water. Yeah. We'll build a water softening package for oil production. This is still running fantabulously since last time. Calories are good. Stress is not bad. We're ending on a much better note than a few other times. Hopefully it keeps going that way. I'll see you in the future.